A friend just said something to you. You started laughing. You wanted to stop. You couldn't. Your stomach hurt. Your eyes watered. You lost your breath for a second, you couldn't even breathe. In that moment, your body wasn't yours to control, like someone else had taken over. You've lived this 1,000 times. But you never stop to ask, where does this sound come from? Why is your body so helpless against certain sounds? Why does it react before your brain even catches up? Laughing is something you repeat every single day of your life and never once question. A baby does this before it even learns to speak. And when scientists finally took the question seriously, the answer landed somewhere no one expected, somewhere far older than you'd think. Go back 50,000 years. Picture a group of people sitting around a fire. Darkness everywhere, danger everywhere, hunger always at the door. There's no talking between them, language doesn't exist yet. No sentences. No words. No grammar has been invented. But there's a sound. Short. Broken. Contagious. One person makes it, the person next to them repeats it. Then another joins in. Then all of them, one after another. That sound is the same sound you make today. That sound is laughter. Long before language, thousands of years before words were invented, people were already laughing at each other. Maybe it was the first real way to understand one another long before speaking. Here's the version you've been told: laughing is a reaction to something funny. You hear a joke, you laugh. Simple, right? Wrong. Completely wrong. When scientists secretly recorded people and studied thousands of moments of laughter one by one, they found something: laughter has almost nothing to do with humor. What do people laugh at most, do you know? Not jokes. Ordinary, boring, completely unfunny sentences. Years of research pulled laughter out of the humor category entirely and put it in the communication category. Which means every time you laugh, you're not really reacting to a joke. You're reacting to a person. And that raises a question: if laughter isn't about jokes, what is it actually for? The answer is far more practical than you'd guess. The numbers are shocking. More than 80% of laughter isn't a response to any joke at all. See you later. How's it going? Okay, I'm heading out. These are the sentences people laugh at most, none of them funny. Laughing isn't a response to humor. Laughing is a signal. Sent to whom, do you know? To the person next to you. A quiet, fast signal that says, I trust you. I'm here. I won't hurt you. And the proof of this sits somewhere far older, far deeper than you'd imagine, in an age before language even existed. Neuroscientist Robert Provine spent years secretly observing people in everyday settings: cafeterias, streets, offices, malls, bus stops. What he found was strange. People almost never laugh when they're alone. The same person laughs 30 times more often when someone else is around. It's hard to laugh at a funny movie by yourself, but the moment a second person watching the same scene walks in, the sound comes out instantly. Laughing isn't a solitary reaction. Laughing is an invisible bond formed between two people in seconds, almost like a handshake, but far older. Provine's recordings revealed something else striking. The person telling the joke laughed far more than the person listening, as if laughter comes not from the joke itself, but from the bond being built. So why don't we laugh when we're alone? Why does this reaction almost never show up without someone there to receive it, as if it's waiting for a recipient? You send a letter, but without an address, it never arrives. Is laughter working the same way? The answer lies in primates, long before humans. When chimpanzees are tickled, they make a breathy hey 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 sound. Scientists consider this the direct ancestor of human laughter. Even rats do it. When they play or get tickled, they emit an ultrasonic laugh too high for human ears. Researcher Jaak Panksepp spent years recording it. But there's a key difference: this sound only appears during play. Not during danger. Not during a fight. Only when it's safe. So laughter was born millions of years ago to say, there's no threat here, we can play, before humans even existed. This is where neuroscience comes in. Laughing isn't controlled by the newest, most advanced part of the brain, it's run by the oldest, most primitive part. By the brainstem, the layer that fires before you even think, the same region that runs your heartbeat and your breathing. It's not something learned later, like speech, something that changes from culture to culture. It's innate, universal, impossible to fake. In China, deep in the Amazon, on the ice of the Arctic, the same sound comes out of people, in the same rhythm, with the same breathing pattern. No one taught it, no culture invented it, everyone already knew. Even an adult meeting a baby for the first time recognizes that sound instantly, without thinking, because it's already written inside them too. So here's what emerges: laughter is actually a language. A language that existed long before words, one that doesn't need grammar or translation. A message delivered in seconds, without building a sentence, without saying a single word. There's no danger. I'm here. You're safe. This is the oldest, fastest, most honest way to say that. Long before humanity learned to speak, before grammar existed at all, people could already send this message to each other, and maybe that's exactly why laughter is still so much harder to fake than a lie. Making up a sentence is easy. But faking a laugh completely? Even the brain can't quite pull it off. Think about it in terms of survival. Building trust within a group could save your life in the most literal sense. Sharing food, hunting together, splitting night watch, accepting a stranger into the group, all of it depended on trust. You don't share a kill with someone you don't trust. You don't turn your back on them. You don't sleep near them. And laughter could build that trust in seconds, without spending a single word. You never needed to say I trust you. You just laughed, they laughed back, and the message was already complete. There was no language, but the bond was already there. Maybe more reliable than language itself, because it was so hard to fake. If a group laughed together, that group grew its odds of survival together too, not a lone hunter, but a community that trusted each other. Babies still prove this. They start laughing months before they learn to speak, usually around 4 months old, nearly a year before their first word. No baby is taught to laugh. No one sits them down and shows them how. No parent gives lessons. It's already written in, genetically. Even babies born blind and deaf, who have never seen or heard anyone laugh, start laughing at the exact same time, in the exact same way, with the exact same sound. This is the strongest evidence scientists have that laughter isn't learned. It's carried. It's as if there's a button waiting inside the brain even before birth, and the first thing that presses it is usually another person's face. But what about fake laughter? The moment you laugh politely in a meeting. That short haha you give your boss's not-so-funny joke. That polite smile at an acquaintance, when you're not actually enjoying yourself at all. Can the human brain tell the difference, or does it all fall into the same category? Is it real, or is your brain fooling you here too? In the 1800s, French neurologist Duchenne de Boulogne figured out how to tell real laughter from fake. In a genuine laugh, the muscles around the eyes engage too, something almost impossible to fake on purpose, because you can't consciously control those muscles. In a fake laugh, only the mouth moves. The eyes stay still, and something cold remains in the gaze. Today that distinction is still known in science as the Duchenne smile. The fact that the brain runs these two systems completely separately shows something on its own. Laughter comes from somewhere far deeper, far more honest than you'd think, and the body just isn't very good at lying. No one asks this: can laughter really be controlled, or does it take us over? In 1962, something strange happened at a girls' school in Tanganyika. One student started laughing. She didn't stop. The girl next to her started laughing too. Then the next one. Then the whole class. Within days, the outbreak spread to other schools, lasted for months, affected roughly 1,000 people, and forced 14 schools to shut down temporarily. Doctors found no physical illness, no poison, no infection. Under the right conditions, laughter can behave like an actual virus. And stopping it can take months. Which shows that laughter isn't something one person can control on their own. the tighter the group's bond, the faster it spreads. When Grumk hears this, he says, "So laughing spreads like a disease too," and immediately starts laughing at the rock next to him. The rock, obviously, doesn't laugh back. Grumk waits a bit, looks at the rock hopefully, then mutters to himself, "This rock is way too cold, doesn't get humor at all." And keeps laughing anyway, having completely forgotten why he started in the first place, but unable to stop. Eventually another caveman wanders over, and without even asking what's so funny, just looks at Grumk and starts laughing too. Both of them have long since stopped looking for a reason. Here's the most striking part: laughter still works perfectly everywhere language fails. Two people who speak different languages, unable to understand a single word, can laugh together. And in that moment, truly understand each other, no dictionary required. There's no shared word between a baby and an adult, but there's laughter, and that's enough. The same bridge forms between a deaf person and a hearing person, without needing a single sign. No words, no sentences, no translation needed, but the bond is complete, forming even faster than language. Maybe that's why there isn't a single culture, anywhere in the world, where laughter doesn't land. But laughter has a dark side too. On battlefields. At funerals. People have been seen bursting into uncontrollable laughter right in the middle of the heaviest losses, again and again. It's called gallows humor. When the body faces more pain than it can carry, it sometimes escapes into laughter as the only way out. The line between crying and laughing suddenly disappears, both coming from the same breath. Laughter isn't always the sound of joy. Sometimes it's the last resort in the middle of the unbearable, the body's own way of protecting itself. Soldiers know this. So do nurses, surgeons, disaster response teams. That strange laugh right after the worst moment isn't a sign of breaking down, it's a sign of staying standing. Anthropologists recorded laughter appearing in mourning rituals across dozens of unrelated cultures, all around the world, with no contact between them. The loss is so enormous that the brain breathes, for a moment, through laughter. Like a safety valve, the body opens on its own. This is the same solution the human body has found against its deepest pain for thousands of years, the one human response that never changes, continent to continent, language to language. Maybe laughter and grief always came from the same root, both the same ancient system the body reaches for when words simply aren't enough. Come back to today. Your next laugh is actually a 50,000-year-old survival signal. When you laugh with a friend, you're speaking, without realizing it, the same language spoken by the first people around that fire. There's no danger. I'm here. You're safe. You never said those words out loud. But every time you laugh, that's exactly what you're saying, just like your ancestors said it tens of thousands of years ago, around a fire, without knowing a single word yet. Despite the 50,000 years that have passed, despite every language and alphabet ever invented, the oldest message is still carried by the exact same sound. Laughing was never just something funny. Laughing is survival. And every time you laugh, you're still speaking that old, that most honest language your ancestors spoke around the fire.